when you're in the House and you're answering, you start out with the same line. You're like, in 9 years of this Trudeau government.
Yeah, we'll be switching to 10 years.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
After 10 years.
Yeah, after 10 years of this Liberal Trudeau government, we've experienced doubling of this and quadrupling of that. And it gets to the point where it's like, it almost sounds almost like if you've ever been to the Catholic Church, like that same kind
I'm
of
Catholic.
Okay, there you go. There you go. So, you have your phrase and response. And one of the big criticisms that I hear from a lot of my Liberal friends are that it doesn't feel genuine. It feels forced. It feels, and I know the psychology behind it.
Yeah, the Liberals hate it.
The
Liberals hate it because it's effective. Do you remember the cereal commercials from when you were a kid?
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember the jingles?
Yeah.
Do you remember the jingles from McDonald's? Mm-hmm. That stuff works, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's called marketing. And it's something the Liberals might want to try sometime. But marketing works, but it only works if it's genuine and based on the things that people care about and people want their, in this case, politicians talking about. And while the Liberals don't talk about the things that people care about, we've been effective in talking about them and expressing them in a way, in language that they understand. And over the last year, the Liberals in the House have actually laughed at us when we brought up the fentanyl crisis. Actually laughed. Everybody says, you were mean, you called their policies wacko. You called them wacko. We called them wacko after a year of saying we have a massive fentanyl problem in this country. And there are almost 50,000 people that have died since Trudeau's been elected from fentanyl. More than have died in World War II.
Yeah.
It's an incredible thing, really. And most families, even here in Nova Scotia, are touched by it. But when we bring it up, they'd actually laugh at it and not understand that those are issues that we were hearing at the door, and that expressing them in a way, in language that people connect with actually works. That's marketing. I spent most of my business career in marketing.
Yeah. I hear you, but I'm also kind of like, I'm looking at the polls right now and I'm hearing on the ground what people are saying. And I do agree with you, it's effective, because I find on the show sometimes we'll be talking and then natural language will come out and it will be your phrases that you guys are saying.
Doesn't know tax, build the homes,
exactly.
fix the budget and stop the crime.
But
everybody knows it, and those issues haven't gone away.
Is it effective, though, in the sense, like, it's effective for memorization, but I'm looking at the polls right now, I'm concerned. I'm watching what's happening with this trajectory.
You know what Diefenbaker said about polls, right?
Oh, no, he's bringing up the dogs. Bringing up the dogs!
But the reality is, look, I have a little bit of gray hair that isn't cut off, and I've been through this a lot. So polls go up and change quite a bit during leaderships. They're expected to. So in 1993, when Brian Mulroney resigned, I was a staffer then. In February 1993, sounds similar, right? February 2025, February 1993, the Conservative Party was at 19% in the polls, and the Prime Minister's popularity was actually 12%.
Wow.
Way worse than Trudeau's.
Yeah.
Way worse.
Right.
Not almost as bad on the party polling numbers, but way worse personally for Mulroney. Kim Campbell was elected leader in June. And in the summer, we were at 40% in the polls. 40%.
Yeah.
And then on election day in October, we got 19%. So you normally get a bump. And this is a theoretical bump. Most of this bump isn't Mark Carney, by the way. It's people's relief that Trudeau's gone.
Yeah.
Right? Let's be clear about what this is about. People are happy Trudeau's gone. Yes, they are a bit worried obviously about Trump, but in all those same polling numbers, the number one issue still is cost of living. It's not Trump. In the Ontario election right now, all the polling that's going on has cost of living at 57% and Trump in the 20s. So the cost of living issue is still there, and in fact is made worse by Trump tariffs and the Trudeau response. Because the Trump tariffs are ultimately, for us, are about cost of living issues. Yeah. They will put the price of everything up even more.
Exactly. And it was funny because even when you mentioned Todd Battis earlier, when Todd Battis had had Mark Carney on there, and he's like, but don't you think that if you remove the consumer carbon tax and just leave it on the industry, that they'll just pass it on to the consumer anyway? And he goes, no, you just don't understand it. We're like, what?
well, you guys have your own business here. I wrote business plans for 20 years for big, medium-sized companies, strategic companies, all costs, corporate taxes, any kind of tax is just passed on as as a cost of business. You still have to make the return for your shareholder. So whether that's a private shareholder, your family business, or whether it's a public company. So this is the incredible thing. This guy worries me that he was actually the governor of the Bank of Canada and actually thinks that businesses don't pass taxes on to customers, or that he says that when's the last time, Todd Battis, that you bought steel, or that you used steel, while he looked into a TV camera made out of steel, in a building made out of steel, in a car that drove over a steel bridge in a steel car. But apparently he's not aware of that. Maybe it's because his servants go into his kitchen and get his champagne out of his steel fridge for him, and he isn't aware that he has a steel fridge. So, but this is the same fellow who said to the media when asked why he should become prime minister without ever having run for elected office, well, I always go into the top job. I mean, bow down and lick my boots. I didn't work at the Bank of Canada, but they needed me. I didn't work at the Bank of England, but they needed me. And now the Liberal Party needs me. Why would I lower myself to actually become a candidate in a riding, knock on doors, actually convince people in a community to vote for me? That's beneath me, right? So, this is the attitude. He's a globalist. He's a self-admitted globalist last week. He believes that elites and globalists should rule the country and that that's what's needed now. I don't think there's many people out there that think that we need a globalist elite banker who made a fortune on Wall Street, but is actually more left-wing than Justin Trudeau and is a climate zealot, an extreme zealot. Stephen Guilbeault isn't supporting Mark Carney because he thinks Mark Carney is going to build pipelines. This is crazy that these guys, 2 weeks before an election, all of a sudden said, oh, after 10 years of killing pipelines, maybe we should build some. I don't know. Maybe we should not do the taxes we were planning on, except his carbon tax is a carbon tax on business. There already is one on business. And he's obviously just planning to increase it. And those are massive costs for our businesses at a time that we can't afford it, where we have this international uncertainty caused by the new economic philosophy of the President of the United States.
Getting drunk from 7 to 3, overindulged in flesh like it's free. We're on a fast ride where monkeys killing time with machines. Making love that we don't even feel. You don't even notice if it's her or it's me. But somewhere deep in it's cutting like a knife, so you just kill it with the one. All of a sudden you are free. You call your mom and say, hey, it's me. I just need some